What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Green Zone. This is going to be our last big show, as it is the final full card of the NFL season, our Week 18 episode. That appreciate you guys rocking out with me. This season has been a very, very profitable season. I'm on pace for maybe my record-breaking highest winning season yet. A couple years ago, we did plus 60 units for the season, and we are right on the cusp of that now. Going into this week after going 9-0 last week in college football from the Green Zone as well. So hopefully we can carry that through week 18 and then get us to the window, and then we'll move on to the playoffs next week. But that being said, we're going to jump right into the action. It's going to be tonight. There's two games in the NFL here on Saturday. First game up was going to be the Panthers at the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are a 3-point favorite with the over-under at 43.5. I'm going to be on the Panthers plus 3.5 here for a half unit. I've been saying it for weeks, and it's pretty evident watching them play. The Baker Mayfield is playing injured. The Buccaneers offense hasn't looked right since he got that oblique injury a couple months ago, and this Panthers defense also knows this Bucs offense pretty well. The Panthers can limit what they can do on the ground, and I'm not sure Baker can let the Bucs live and die by his arm at this point. On the other side, the Bucs defense is pretty banged up, so I think there's going to be room for Ted McMillan, who had a quiet game last week, to actually have a big game in this one. The Bucs in their current state just shouldn't be laying points to anyone, even at home. I like the Panthers to cover, and I could also see them winning outright here. So give me the Panthers plus 3 against the Buccaneers. Next game up is the night game tonight is the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. The Seahawks are a 2.5-point favorite with the over-under at 47.5. I really like this matchup for the Seahawks against this 49ers defense. The Seahawks should be able to run all over this defense with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. And Darnold is also in an advantageous spot against this 49ers secondary. Sam Darnold struggles and really gets into trouble when he faces a defense that can continuously get him under pressure, but the 49ers haven't really been a good pass rushing unit. And I think Darnold's going to be able to play from a clean pocket for a majority of this game. On the other side, Brock Purdy has been playing really good for the 49ers since he came back from injury, but they've also faced a slew of bad teams that haven't really given him of much of a test during the stretch. The Seahawks defense brings a much different challenge for him. They stuff the run, so they're going to be able to limit McCaffrey, put more pressure on Purdy, and I'm not sure the 49ers have the weapons to consistently win outside against the Seattle secondary. So I like the Seahawks here laying the 2.5, and that's going to be my play in this game. Now, moving on to Sunday is going to be the Colts at the Texans. The Texans are a 10-point favorite with the over-under at 36.5. Now, I got creative with this one because when I first started doing my research in NFL and notes for the NFL this week, I honestly didn't have many plays. I ended up actually having more plays than I thought, but I got creative this week with this play. I'm going to actually do a three-leg. Back in the day when sports books weren't legal and you had to go through a guide. It was called a teaser. But these online sports books just let you do alt line spreads. So I have a three-leg alternate line parlay, and this game is included in it. I'm going to move the Texans down to 3.5. And parlay them with the Bengals minus 1.5 and the Jaguars minus 3.5. And that parlay is going to pay plus 105. And I'm going to put a full unit on that. I will rehash that scenario when I get to the other two games as well if you miss it. But that being said, I don't like laying this many points here, but I do think the Texans are going to get a win and probably by at least a touchdown. I just don't like laying double digits, especially with a rookie quarterback in Riley Leonard, who's a pretty unknown guy when it comes to NFL standards. But I did get creative because there's a lot of games where it's hard to find value. So I wanted to get creative and add this parlay in. So give me the Texans on an alternate line down to minus 3.5 here against the Colts, and you're going to parlay them with the Bengals minus 1.5 and the Jaguars minus 3.5, and it's going to be a full unit pays plus 105. Next game up is the Cowboys at the Giants. The Cowboys are a 3.5 point favorite with the over under at 49.5. The Cowboys say they're starting Dak Prescott and the other starters in this game, but how much are they going to play is unclear. So I can't confidently make a prediction in this game. The Giants, I'm sure, will play what starters they have left. I know they have a pretty young roster, so they'd rather get another look at them for one last time here in week 18. But it just isn't a game I want to get involved in. So nothing here in the Cowboys Giants. Next up is the Browns at the Bengals. The Bengals are a 7.5 point favorite with the over under at 44.5. The Bengals offense is really clicking recently, but this Browns defense is still pretty solid. I don't think the Browns are going to be able to do enough offensively, though, to match the Bengals like they did against a worse Steelers offense last week. The Bengals defense is improved, but not enough to be laying 7 points against a defense like the Browns that can keep them in the game. But that's why I like moving this line down to 1.5. As I just said, this is going to be part of my alternate line parlay. We're going to move the Bengals down to 1.5 because, again, I don't like laying a full touchdown with a defense as good as the Browns. So I'm going to move that down to 1.5, and you're going to parlay them with the Texans -3.5 and the Jags -3.5 for a full unit, and that's going to pay plus 105. Next game up is the Saints at the Falcons. The Falcons are a 3.5 point favorite with the over under at 43.5. Drake London doesn't look healthy. He only had one catch in the Falcons win against the Rams last week, and the Falcons are playing for nothing. So I don't know how much you're going to see of London in this game. I loved the Falcons last week due to the great matchup Bijan Robinson had against that Rams front seven. That same advantage isn't here against this Saints defense. They're pretty good against the run, and the Saints on offense. Tyler Shuck has been playing solid for them, but he does struggle when he faces a defense that can get him under pressure. And this Falcons defense has really come on strong in terms of rushing the passer recently. They also keep losing skill guys. The Saints offense, most recently, their number one wide receiver, Chris Olave, who doctors found a blood clot in his lung. So I'm hoping all the best for him and his ability to make a full recovery. But for this game's sake, that's a big loss for this Saints offense. That really hurts their passing attack. And the under is my best look in this game. Give me the under 43.5 in the Falcons Saints. Next game up is the Packers at the Vikings. The Vikings are a 9.5 point favorite with the over under at 36.5. I know you could look at this game and be like, why the hell are the Vikings laying almost double digits to the Packers? But I promise there's a good reason for it. JJ McCarthy is going to be starting for the Vikings in this game. And while I'm one of his biggest critics, he is a massive upgrade over Max Brosmer, who's been playing quarterback for the Vikings past few weeks. On the other side, the Packers are sitting a ton of guys, and that defense is already not playing up to a high standard. So I do think the Vikings are going to be able to have a ton of success against them. And on the other side, Clayton Tune is going to be the starting quarterback for the Packers. And if you didn't see him play when he was on the Cardinals, he is absolutely terrible. Brian Flores is going to be able to dial up blitzes and fluster him all game. I think the Vikings actually put it on the Packers today. Coaching staff has a lot to play for, and these young guys also have a lot to prove. So give me the Vikings minus the 9.5 against the Packers tomorrow. Sorry, not today. Next game up is the Titans at the Jaguars. The Jaguars are a 13.5 point favorite with the over under at 47.5. The Titans defense, mainly their secondary, is in brutal shape. So I think the Jags should be having receivers running wide open all day. And I also like ETN to have a solid day on the ground as well. On the other side, Cam Ward has actually thrived in negative game states where they're losing and he just has to drop back and sling it all over. And I think the offense is going to be able to score some points against a Jag secondary that can be vulnerable. So I'm going to put a half unit on the Jaguars Titans over 47.5 in this one for that reason. And then also this is going to be the last leg. If you just joined the show, we're going to do a 3-leg alternate line parlay today. One unit is going to pay plus 105, and it's going to be the Jags -3.5, the Texans -3.5, and then the Bengals -1.5. Parlay those three together with those alternate lines, and it's going to pay plus 105. And I'm putting a full unit on it, and then I'm also on the over 47.5 here in the Titans Jaguars, and I will also go back to that parlay once I really run through the red hot locks at the end of the show. Next game up is the Cardinals at the Rams. The Rams are an 8.5 point favorite with the over under at 46.5. Now, this is a game I'm going to wait and see. Sean McVay has said he's going to play his starters no matter what happens in the Seahawks 49ers game tonight. But I also don't trust him. He sat his starters week 18 almost every year since he's been the Rams coach. And I do think if they have nothing to play for, then they might start their starters, but I doubt they would play the full game. So I want to wait and see how that works out and how it matters to the Rams, whether I'm going to jump in and make a play on this one. It would be the Rams or nothing, but I want to wait and see if the Rams are going to be in a motivational spot to actually want to play and play their starters for the full game. Next game up is the Commanders at the Eagles. The Eagles are a 4.5 point favorite with the over under at 38.5. The Commanders defense is terrible. I've been saying it all year, and here in week 18, it's still is true. Nothing has changed at the end of the year. The Eagles are sitting some of their starters. But their backup QB is Tanner McKee. If you're not familiar with him, he is AKA the Mormon Missile. The kid can sling it. He's a very smart quarterback, throws an accurate ball, throws a good deep ball. And I think he's actually a pretty serviceable quarterback in this league. Even with the Eagles starting him, they have the quarterback advantage in this game as the Commanders are rolling with Josh Johnson. And it's still going to be Vic Fangio dialing up blitzes, even though some of the starters for the Eagles defense is going to be out. I still think the Eagles are the better team, and I'm going to lay the Eagles minus 4.5 in this game, even with the backups playing. Next game up is the Chargers at the Broncos. The Broncos are a 13.5 point favorite with the over under at 37.5. The Broncos are still playing for the 1 seed in this game. And the Chargers are sitting a lot of guys. The Broncos have a big advantage in the trenches in this game and should be able to run all over this Chargers defense without Denzel Perryman and Khalil Mack. Offensively, the Chargers are sitting Justin Herbert, who's kind of been a superhero for them behind a god awful offensive line. He's just been making stuff happen, and it will be Trey Lance in his place. And I thought Lance actually looked pretty good in his sparing playing time this season and the preseason. But their O line is going to be a skeleton crew if they're going to be sitting guys on the O line as well. So I don't see how they have any success against this Broncos defense. It is a big number, but I'm going to lay the Broncos here minus the 13.5. Next game up is the Chiefs at the Raiders. The Chiefs are a 5.5 point favorite with the over under at 36.5. The Chiefs in their current state are just not something that I can back or bet on or against with any confidence. And the Raiders are a loss away from locking up the 1 seed. And we saw last week they're willing to do whatever they can to secure that spot. So there's nothing I want to do in this game in the Chiefs Raiders. Next up is the Dolphins at the Patriots. The Patriots are an 11.5 point favorite with the over under at 45.5. Just like the Broncos, the Patriots are playing for the 1 seed here tomorrow. Keep wanting to say today. And I expect Drake May to have another MVP like performance, just like he's had all year against a bad Dolphins secondary. The Dolphins got a win last week, but that Bucks defense is not up to the level the Patriots are, and Drake May is not going to make the same mistakes that Baker Mayfield made in that game. I like the Patriots to come in and dominate the Dolphins here. I'm going to lay the Patriots minus 11.5. Next up is the Lions at the Bears. The Bears are a 3 point favorite with the over under at 50.5. I like the over in this game, but I really need to know the status of Amon-Ra St. Brown before I pull the trigger on this game. The Lions aren't playing for anything, but I don't think a Dan Campbell coach team is just going to ever just tank and not care. I think they're always going to show up. And the Bears are obviously highly motivated as a win secures them the 2 seed in the NFC here as well. I'm expecting all out efforts from both sides. And if that's the case, then both of these offenses have the advantages against the opposing defenses. I just need to know if Amon-Ra is going to play. I might still end up on the over regardless of his status, but if he doesn't play, we're going to be able to get it at a better number. And then if he does play, I obviously like it more as he's one of the premier wide receivers in the league. So lean the over. Going to be a wait and see for me on whether Amon-Ra plays or not. Next up is the Jets at the Bills. The Bills are a 7.5 point favorite with the over under at 37.5. The Bills are also a team going to be expected to be sitting guys in this one, whether they just sit them off rip or pull them after the game starts. So I don't really know what they're going to do in this game. It's never the Jets, obviously. Like, that's a downright terrible team. And the Bills backups, I don't know how deep they are at most positions. don't think they have a lot of depth, but backup quarterback, if Josh Allen doesn't play, is Mitch Trubisky. And just from a backup standpoint, you could find worse. But I also don't know if I want to lay over a touchdown if it's going to be Trubisky for a majority of the game. So nothing for the Jets Bills for me. And then the last game of the night, Sunday Night Football tomorrow, will be the Ravens at the Steelers. The Ravens are a 3.5 point favorite with the over under at 41.5. Lamar is going to give it a go in this one for the Ravens. And crazy to say this, but the offense has actually looked better with Huntley at quarterback, but that's largely due in part to Lamar playing injured for a majority of this season. He's been hurt. He's been hurt for a couple weeks, or he's been off for a couple weeks now. So he should be at the healthiest he's been all year. And Derrick Henry has really gotten going down the stretch for this Ravens offense as well. And on the other side, the Steelers offense is broken without DK Metcalf. They have no downfield threat at all besides Scotty Miller, I guess you could say. But I'm expecting a lot of underneath routes of running the ball, which is why I like the under here, because the Ravens are an explosive offense themselves. And I'm expecting a classic low-scoring Steelers-Ravens game, AFC North battle. And the Steelers had the chance to win the division last week, and this game wouldn't even have mattered, but they let the Ravens off the hook when they lost to the Browns. And I think they're going to pay for it. So I'm also going to take the under 41.5, but I'm also going to be on the Ravens minus 3.5 here with, in my opinion, going to be a pretty healthy Lamar Jackson against his Steelers. Now we're going to move on to the red hot locks, and the parlay of the day will follow that as well. And then, as always, if you don't care to listen to me, you can just watch it scroll across the bottom of the screen. And then you see that alternate line parlay. I will explain. I've done it 3 times already, but if you join the show late, I will re-explain what that situation is. So starting off, Panthers +3 for a half unit. The Seahawks -2.5 for 1 unit. The Bengals, Jags, Texans alternate spread parlay 1 unit, and it's going to pay +105. You're going to move the Jags to -3.5. You're going to move the Texans to -3.5, and you're going to move the Bengals to -1.5. Parlay those 3 alternate lines together. It's going to pay +105, and I'm putting a full unit on it. Now back to regular bets. Saints, Falcons under 43.5 for a half unit. The Vikings -9.5 for a half unit. The Jaguars, Titans over 47.5 for a half unit. The Broncos -13.5 for a half unit. The Patriots -11.5 for a full unit. The Ravens -3.5 for a full unit. And then the Ravens Steelers under 41.5 for a half unit. Again, if you missed anything, it's scrolling across the bottom. If you missed my analysis for any of the games earlier, you can always go back on YouTube and watch. The shows are logged every week. You can always rewatch whenever. So I'm going to let this go ahead and finish scrolling, and then I'm going to throw up the parlay of the day right after this as soon as it finishes. All right. Looks like it's almost done, but let me just throw this up there. Parlay of the day, as always, is going to be 3 legs, 1 unit on it, and this week it pays +577. And this week I'm going with the Seahawks -2.5 tonight against the 49ers, the Patriots -11.5 tomorrow versus the Dolphins, and then tomorrow night the Ravens -3.5 against the Steelers. Again, it's parlay today, as always, 3 legs, 1 unit. This week pays 577. And I probably will do a green zone next week for the NFL playoffs, because it's still kind of a full slate. But I am determining how I'm going to move forward once we get lesser and lesser games in the playoffs. Maybe I'll just go live, and whoever wants to watch can watch, and then the clips will just be posted to social media for you guys to see as well. I'm gonna let that just play real quick as I'm doing the outro. So yeah, this will be our last full show, as obviously it's the last week of the NFL regular season. It really flew by. I can't believe we're here already. Appreciate you guys listening to me all season. Like I said in the beginning, it's been a very profitable season. My best season ever has been +60 units, and that was 2 years ago. And we are pushing up very close to that territory here this year. So we just went 9-0 in the college football episode this week. So hopefully you guys check that out, and hopefully we finish off strong here with NFL Week 18. As always, best of luck, bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you next week.